What's poppin', yo? Yo, we've got some crazy collaborations as of late. Like Fat Joe and Justin Bieber. Now, this comes from Fat Joe's podcast with Jadakiss, which is relatively new. And Fat Joe is a machine with the content. First off, he started going back. He invented the Joe Budden seats. That's a new terminology. I don't really know if that's going to catch on. But he starts going back and forth with Joe Budden. That gets him a little bit of motion. You know, that kindles the flame. And now he's got a story with Justin Bieber. And, man, I'm not going to lie. I don't think he's lying. So I'm going to play you guys the clip first, and this is hilarious.
I'm gonna tell you what fucked me up with Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber gets arrested just driving crazy around Miami. Raul, rest in peace, calls me up and says, yo, they looking for somebody to bail out Justin Bieber. It wasn't no money. It was nothing. A couple of $100, $1,000.
And he didn't have no money at the time?
No, he got money, but he ain't no criminal.
He didn't
I'm
know
trying
what
to get to the point, Jay. We bail a man out.
Hold on,
He's young.
You bailed out Justin Bieber. He's rich as he always been rich.
No, what happens is we all got friends in common, and they was like, we not from here.
They didn't know about that.
The bail bondsman. Rich Player at the time was dating Damati, the bail bondsman. The problem is, he calls me to thank me and starts saying, yo, I'm a gangster now.
Since he got arrested? Oh, nah. He was in traffic? What did he got arrested for?
Speeding, right? But he started telling me he's a gangster, Joe. I went to jail. I said, yo, Justin, listen, bro. You got to stop. Like this, straight up, you got to stop. Like, we don't want you gangster. We want you singing, baby, baby. This, and I think if I would have gassed him, like some of these OG gang guys gassed the young kids, he'd have been like, Fat Joe. But I hit him with yo, we don't want you on the news, bro. We don't want you getting arrested. We want you to succeed. You're Justin Bieber. My daughter worships you. We all love you. And that kind of messed up my relationship with him at that moment because he really was like...
He wasn't trying to hear that shit?
Nah, he was just like, he felt like, yo, this guy, I'm the fun killer. I fucked up the moment. The problem is, we can't glorify going to jail or getting arrested and these rappers acting like it's some sexy shit.
So for those of man, Jadakiss, of course, like he trying to pop in, like he trying to punch into the beat or something and get his raps off, get his bars off. Like, yo, let Fat Joe finish, man. And Fat Joe does spend a lot of time in Miami. He was spending a lot of time in Miami. He's one of the early rappers to go down there. Like Latin roots, if you're Spanish speaking, you got down to Miami quite early. He was probably linking up with Pitbull at that time. But the incident that he's talking about, if we circle back, this was when Justin Bieber was full on crash out mode. This was 2014, so Justin Bieber would have been around, 20 years old, maybe 21 maximum. And this incident that he's talking about happened on January 23rd, 2014. So the reason Justin Bieber got arrested was he got a DUI, and also, I believe it was, so he got driving under the influence, and he got a street racing, drag racing, whatever the hell. It wasn't drag racing. It was definitely like speed racing and resisting arrest. He is lucky there. I don't know if there was body cam footage at that point. Body cam footage is post 2016, right? I think it was post Trayvon Martin, or no. It wasn't post Trayvon Martin. It was after that. But we just got footage of fans recording him getting arrested by Miami Beach police. It would have been because he got a resisting arrest too and driving with an expired license. So he was street racing. They caught him street racing. They arrested him. They brought him into jail. That's the infamous mugshot where he's just like smiling. You could tell that guy was so happy to get into jail. And so some context here before we get into Fat Joe's situation. Just before, so this was an era when, you guys remember when Justin Bieber kind of had these two sidekicks where you were like, yo, who are these guys? Well, one of them was Lil Twist, who was rolling around with Young Money. But there was also this guy who was Lil Twist's younger brother named Lil Zay or Lil Za. I don't know exactly what it's spelled. So this guy, the police had raided Justin Bieber's Calabasas mansion on January 14th. So actually, no, they raided it at 8 a.m. on January 9th. And the reason that it got raided was because he got accused of egging his neighbor's home. So he was living with Lil Zay and Lil Twist, and I don't know who was another friend that he had around him at that time. A friend, quote unquote. There was this guy, Khalil, I think. Khalil was the guy that got arrested with him in Miami. Lil Twist and Lil Zay, Xavier, were around him in LA. So this happens January 9th. They raid the house. And then I think it was January 14th that he got arrested. it doesn't really matter. But it was for drug possession. And the police made sure to let everybody know it wasn't Justin Bieber that was arrested. And they were also saying that he wasn't exonerated. So they were trying to figure out, like, yo, we're looking at if he was in the scene or not. So there was a vandalism case, and then they found some drugs there. And this wasn't a good look for Lil Zay, but shoot, he popped out. And there was a TMZ article that came out on January 27th or something like that. It was a couple weeks later. And the article reads, Lil Zay and Justin Bieber are still roomies. TMZ had learned Zay is not moving out and is not being forced out of Bieber's Calabasas home despite his arrest for drug possession. There was speculation Bieber ordered Zay to pack his bags and move out after Zay was spotted at a hotel near Justin Bieber's house immediately after the arrest. But sources close to Zay tell us he was only visiting his mom, who flew in from Texas following his drug bust, and chose to crash at a hotel. Zay's girlfriend, Atifa Barwani, also came out from Texas. She's the chick who's been tooling around Bieber's house on Segways with Zay. Now, Atifa Barwani, there's a little bit of a background story that I got to give you guys that happened after this, because y'all are probably wondering, hey, yo, what happened to Lil Twist? What happened to Lil Zay? Well, Lil Twist, I really don't know what he's up to, but Lil Zay ended up marrying this girl, Atifa Barwani. This girl's like from Dubai. I don't know if she's royalty or she's from a really, really wealthy family, but she was with this dude, Lil Zay, and they're still together, and they have a family. And Lil Zay is like now Muslim. I think he turned Muslim to get with her. I don't know what that situation was like. I think they've got a business. They're like out there in Dallas, Texas now. So I don't know if her family was like, hey, look, our daughter's been with you. She's been messing with you for a while. They were all young at this time, maybe 18, 19. And they're like, yo, you better get with this Muslim. You better get Muslim or we're going to have problems, or you can't stay with our daughter or whatever. I guess he's Muslim. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but I mean, he wasn't Muslim before, and then he got with her, and then he turned Muslim, and he is now, and they're married, and they have a family together. So that's what happened with Lil Zay. Khalil, I don't really know, but you can see there was chaos surrounding Justin Bieber. And I think Lil Zay and Lil Twist got blamed for a lot of it at the time because people wanted to keep this clean image of Justin Bieber. But on the other coast, this guy was getting into trouble. And Fat Joe was telling, and you could tell, man, Justin Bieber's like, yo, am I a gangster now? That's hilarious. Because Justin Bieber was always a fan of Chris Brown, R&B, and hip hop. And if you look at Chris Brown, obviously, well, what better transition from pop star to gangster did we see than the big blood Chris Brown? Dude's started getting tattoos, tatting his head. I mean, he's getting into violent altercations. He got arrested overseas because of this in the UK. Damn near got multiple $1 million that he had to pay for bail just so he can be able to continue his tour. They caught him up out there because he allegedly went upside some producer's head in the club. Maybe Justin Bieber's looking at it like, yo, maybe I can be like that. I don't know why, but hey, if you're getting tens of millions of unimaginable money at age 12, 13, hey, when it starts at that age, I can imagine you might make a couple of missteps as well. I'm not here to judge Justin Bieber. I think it could have ended up a lot worse for him. The part that I don't get is when they're talking about, like, yo, they hit up Fat Joe to bail him out. I'm thinking that they were trying to bail him out as soon as possible, and perhaps somebody needed to be at the scene to get him bailed out, because I would assume this is something that his manager would handle. Who is this? Scooter Braun, excuse me, not Scott. I don't know why I thought of Scott. But perhaps he was just close by, and they were like, yo, can you get him out? Maybe they were phoning every celebrity that's in the Miami Beach area to get him out as quick as possible, because, the longer he stays in there, number one, he's Justin Bieber, and number two, what the hell is he doing? Like, more reports are going to come out. So with this case, I kind of get it. And Fat Joe, the way he's talking, it's like an old head, man. He's like, yeah, but this is the thing too. Fat Joe is talking like this to Justin Bieber, but wasn't it just like a couple of months ago, Fat Joe was talking or beefing with somebody and saying, man, we out here with the tool in New York City. Like, yeah, we always got it on us. Granted, Fat Joe did come up from a different era, or did come up in a completely different environment than Justin Bieber. And perhaps if Fat Joe was a celebrity or not a celebrity, a pop star, things would be different. But I do think he gave Justin Bieber great advice. And this is a good example of when people say, like, yo, why don't the people around him just do better? Fat Joe was around him. He told Justin Bieber something he didn't want to hear. And he clearly said, said, hey, this messed up my relationship with Justin Bieber. I wasn't around anymore. So the idea that you can somehow, you have to manipulate somebody. If you want the best for somebody like that and you're close to them, you can't tell them what's good for them. You have to like gaslight and manipulate them into what's good for them. So they would, and that's really difficult. And most people don't want to do that anyway. So it's either you choose to say something knowing you're going to get fired or you're going to be kicked out of the circle and lose all the benefits you have, or you don't say anything and you keep the benefits. Now there is what kind of standard are you going to hold yourself to? Like maybe you have personal principles that you must live by, and that's one thing. But I think it's quite reasonable for most people to just be like, you know what, I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm not going to encourage him to do any of these things. If he is going to do something, I'll be like a close watchful eye, but I'm not going to be the one to tell him he can't do it. Like who's going to tell Justin Bieber in 2014 that just dropped Confident, oh nah, you can't do that? He's not trying to hear that, especially if he wants to be a big bad gangster. I mean, right now we're seeing Justin Bieber episode 2 damn near of him crashing out with all these finances and money problems he's allegedly having, and who he's been hanging out with recently that are a far cry from who he had been hanging out post 2016. But this is a unique era that we get some insight to. This is why I'm actually looking forward to more content. This is why I'm actually going to start listening to Fat Joe and Jadakiss. He just needed 2 clips like this, and now I'm tuned in. This is why I think like for older rappers that have seen so much and been a part of so much, a podcast is actually good for them because they have so many stories to tell at times when social media wasn't what it was, and a lot of things were not necessarily kept secret, but they were hush hush, and there's a wealth of knowledge there, a lot of entertainment, and Fat Joe is a funny guy. Not a funny guy like he's goofy, but he knows some comedy, he knows how to make people laugh, and he's just naturally funny himself. Like you just hear him tell a story and you have to laugh, even though he might be dead serious while he's telling the story. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Was Justin Bieber tweaking out? Do you think Fat Joe had any effect on what Justin Bieber was thinking at the time? Or do you think Justin Bieber hung up that phone and thought like, man, I thought Fat Joe was cool. That dude's a lame. He a corny. And he got back in his Ferrari and jetted the hell out of there. Probably do some white with some models that he was hanging around at the time. All right, let me know. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see you on the next one.